It's Tuesday. Welcome to Politics Tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken arrives Villa, meets President Tinubu. On the interview segment for today, we focus on the corruption in EFCC and its implications with a lawyer, civil rights activist, public affairs analyst Kayode Ajulo as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. It's a 30-minute conversation for tonight, so let's get straight into it. Since the establishment of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in 2003 to investigate financial crimes in Nigeria, the agency has been entrenched in controversy, partly for its approach in fighting corruption, which experts have described as selective, and for the character of persons that steer its affairs. Many have also said, if as at 2023, Nigeria still ranks as a highly corrupt country, what exactly has the EFCC been doing over the past 20 years? Also interesting that every past EFCC chairman had faced serious allegations. Now let's get straight into this. Joining me for his perspective on this matter is Kayode Ajulo, a lawyer, civil rights activist, and public affairs analyst. He joins us via Zoom. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, sir. Good to have you on Politics Tonight.
Well, it's my pleasure. Good evening.
Right. So not long ago, you called on the president to set up a presidential task force to identify corrupt officers. Why do you think this is important?
Well, thank you very much. The call on the president, it is not only to identify corrupt officer, but to look into the activities of the EFCC, to identify where the problem is, where they have their problem, and how they've not been able to meet up with their mandate. And if we must take a recourse back to the memory lane, if you remember in 2002, you mentioned 2003, there are, since 1999, to 2002, there have been a series of discussion, hues, about the issue of Nigeria, particularly when it comes to corruption index among the leagues of nations. And based on that, there are a lot of seminars within that 1999 to 2002, which culminated in having an EFCC when the act was sent to the bill was sent to the National Assembly. And right there, it was graciously assented to, and the operation of EFCC started in 2003. The essence of it basically comes with the fact that Financial Action Task Force come together and to identify that Nigeria happened to be one of the 23 countries that when it comes to anti-money laundering policy, Nigeria seems not to be part of them, and to bring Nigeria in, and so that there will be a war against corruption and all the financial vices, and that's how we come to EFCC. And if you remember then, EFCC performed wonderfully well. Remember the likes of Adibende, Maurice Ibekwe, and Wide, and all those people, they were apprehended. Then EFCC faces mandate, and its core mandate. But unfortunately, as time goes on, it seemed to have deviated. And we don't need to really raise any issue about that. I know sometimes true may be hard, but if actually we want things to go well, we want to stampede corruption out of Nigeria, some people need to speak out to say that all is not well. EFCC need to get back to its feet, and that is the reason for that call. The call. And what make it more better is as if, after making the call, the chairman of the EFCC has even come out to confirm that actually some of my operators, investigators, are taking bribes. And what some of us, our expectation is, those people will be named, they will be prosecuted, they will be sent out of the system, that is out of the EFCC. But the only thing I hope I'm hearing it correctly to say that they should change their ways. And I say, oh, this happen to be the chairman of EFCC that have been arresting other people that have been dealing with them, that have been prosecuted. How do we get to this point? So it is so obvious that the EFCC cannot self-policing itself. They cannot overhaul themselves. And I believe presidential task force will do the best of the job. Don't forget, we've had some probing of EFCC, but it seemed only to be probing the top. If you remember the time of Magu. Magu was by my Lord Justice Ayo Salami. But that always seemed to be the head. But here we're talking of holistic auditing, holistic listen to know what has been run, integrity tests to know who are the officers. All of them, I believe there is the time, and this is what a better time than now.
So, Dr. Kayode, I'm sure you would agree with me that the EFCC, like other anti-corruption agency, is seen as Nigeria's white book, free from stain. But now the news coming from the agency, just like you said, isn't palatable. What exactly is going on in the EFCC? And there are others who have also said, is it really about the EFCC or the kinds of public office holders we have in Nigeria and the kinds of politicians we have?
When we talk of EFCC happens to be one of the institutions in Nigeria. And apart from being an institution, a critical one, and not only critical one, critical law enforcement agency. One of our problem in Nigeria is corruption. And when you have a system and an establishment that is facing such, we need to place a critical look and a very interesting and high premium on them. And when we talk of corruption, like I've been saying, we can say all is not that all is that bad with the FCC. Like every other institution, like every other creation of human being or government, there will be some sprinkles of issues. But in a situation where it seems that the system has beaten more than what it could chew, I need not mention instances where it's so obvious that we can say, oh, this position, this operation is more political, is more issue of corruption than what it is. It's more grandstanding. And when such a thing happens, we need to speak out quickly because this is the beginning. We don't know what will happen. I really want the system to work. I really want the institution to work. As a lawyer, I know several times I've written letters to them and EFCC have resolved many cases. So it is something of pride for me to see that a system is working because then we have a working environment where all of us will be happy. But a situation that where you'll be having doubt, and this is so palatable, this is so clear, the fear is so apparent, so genuine, then something has to be done.
I mean, from some of the reports we have, it took Kayode, the current EFCC chairman, to raise a national alarm on the corruption within that commission after about 6 chairpersons before him. What does that say about the commission, really?
Well, one thing you have to know is the executive chairman of the EFCC is a lawyer, and is someone I have a high regard for. He speaks his mind, and if you remember, if you watch him the day he presented, he was facing the Senate. He spoke from the heart, and you can see that this is exactly the kind of person we need. But when it comes to issue of corruption, it's good. It only takes a courage of a great man to be able to come to say yes, something is wrong. But not only that you say something is wrong. Like I do, people do say that the beacon of being compassion is not to toss a coin to a beggar, but to look at what will make such a beggar a beggar. And that's what we're saying. I think apart from raising that alarm, things need to go down, needs to check to know where is this problem. Take it out. It's like cancer. It's either you really take the cancer out at stage 1, stage 2, but by the time you're getting to stage 3 and stage 4, you know that, oh, all is lost. As of now, I believe the cancer in the EFCC is just stage 1 going to stage 2. The right time to do that. And it is obvious. If I need to cite an example, you can see what happened in Zamfara recently. Is governor there, because the election is coming up, the Supreme Court, to give the judgment, in 2 or 3 days' time, EFCC jumping, running up and down. At the end of the day, the judgment went for him, which against the opponent. The opponent that the judgment went against. Some people started running after EFCC, and EFCC said, no, we'll go after such the opponent. It is wrong. It is wrong. And that one shows clearly that there is something wrong with the system, with the EFCC system, and the best time.
Absolutely. The immediate past chairman, talking about Abdulrasheed Bauer, was accused of corruption and arrested, although he's been released. What is the fate of that case presently?
Well, I'm not in the EFCC. I'm not even part of the investigative panel headed by my Lord Justice. I may not know, but like that is one of the things we are saying. Only Bauer, from what I can see, has been taken out. The same thing that happened in Magu, only Magu would have been taken out. And I know how this thing works. Must be some people, even don't be surprised, like my experience, I've been an executive of a corporation before. Most of the problem may not even be with the head, it may be with those around him. Where are those people? You find out that they are still in the system. Instead, if you must weed, is to weed all those undesirable elements. Not that you just take the flag and you take him out. That is not the way. By that indictment, from the first EFCC chairman to the last, you can see that every time there's all this issue, they are always emerging political and all those corruption issues. The question is that all this didn't even call for overhauling, call for integrity test, call for auditing of what is happening in the EFCC. That one, and that's why I said one need not to bring an instance. It speaks for itself. So clear, even the blind could see in this situation.
Mm-hmm. Right, but an agency whose part responsibility is to vet public office appointees before confirmation. I mean, I'm just wondering, did the EFCC not vet Bauer, for instance, and other chairperson as well as its staff before employment?
Well, we have to know that it's not the EFCC to vet Bauer. When it comes to appointment of the chief executive officer of EFCC, it lies solely with the president. President, I'm sure, has his own mechanism, has his own the procedure of vetting who to head EFCC. Not that EFCC will vet the head of who will be the chairman of the FCC. I think when it comes to that, it is the president, and president, I'm sure he has an advisor to advise him, whether the office of NSA or he has his own group that always do that. But I know he's not the EFCC.
All right. So let's talk about the process of, we'll get back to that, but let's talk about the process of investigation deployed by the agency. Is it really rocket science or difficult to produce facts and figures of accused politically exposed persons in Nigeria?
Well, with my experience, with the courses that I've been taking, I always believe that the crime that's so easy to unravel is basically financial crime. Because when we talk of financial crime, it is following the trail. You don't need much, because when we are talking of if you're 50 million naira, I know many people don't even take cash again. All you need to do is to go through the accounts, the bank account statement, and the pattern of spending of such money, and to follow the trail. You know, unfortunately, those who are taking this money, sometimes they get so excited that they will do it and leave the trail, and that's what it is. Well, that is not even the problem. The problem is not about investigation. The problem is the drive behind any investigation. The problem is just for example, a minister in the same government of Ajulo Ahmed Tinubu, a defense minister, you accuse him of committing fraud, and forgetting that, and this is the fraud that has been accused, that he was accused of while being a governor. And you are saying that you're going to now use it. Are you now saying it is just discovered? Forgetting that this same minister was subjected to security scrutiny. So where the question we should ask is that, where was EFCC when this security check and security scrutiny is going on? But by the time you see that EFCC seem to be prepared, seem to be induced by some people. Of course, it's so clear. You see some people taking placard. This so minister must be investigated. And EFCC, unfortunately, either wittingly or unwittingly, lap into that conspiracy. That is wrong. That shows clearly that this is political. I will so much love it, where the EFCC, whosoever that has done wrong, must be picked, must be investigated, must be prosecuted, and they must serve this time. But not that EFCC should be turned to political tools. That's what we're saying now.
Also, I mean, it's clear that the EFCC has a good record of prosecuting internet fraudsters, but little or nothing to show for politically exposed persons who have been accused of corruption. I would like to ask you why that is so. Also, do you think, I mean, you're asking that the president creates a separate agency or a task force that will be charged with the sole responsibility of conducting integrity tests in the EFCC. There are other stakeholders who have said EFCC needs to be scrapped.
Well, I don't think I don't think I will be one of those that will join the bandwagon of saying the EFCC should be scrapped. Instead of scrapping the EFCC, I will urge that there should be a way EFCC should be merged with the ICPC. You can't just scrap it, because I won't say everybody in EFCC is corrupt. I won't say everybody in EFCC is bad. So you can't do that. But first, whatsoever may be whatever may be what we may agree that this is what will happen to EFCC, can only be done until when there's independent assessment. And who I believe can do this independent assessment is the presidency. Until when we have that, then we can now know that this is what will become of the EFCC. But to ask that EFCC should be scrapped, I don't think that is the best advice in this circumstance. What matters most is only let us identify what has been the clogs in the wheel of EFCC. How do we get this fund off? These are the questions we should be asking, and that is what we need. These are what we should be asking, and these are what we need. And mind you, take the corruption, take the bribery, take the political influence from the EFCC. The EFCC stands to be the best institution of government that we should all be proud of. And that is one thing I believe that needed to be done, is to get this thing, get it right. And the EFCC will be the darling of everybody, that the way it chooses to be.
All right. The EFCC has now announced that, I mean, it's reopening cases against former governors. Do you see a positive outcome from this?
Well, if the case is genuine, it will welcome. But I think we have to smart from the past. There are so much time when EFCC will come, and that is one of the problems I have with the EFCC. There is no need of grandstanding. I think I need to say this. There are some matters, criminal matters, that involve financial crime that my office in London is handling. Till today, none. And I can tell you that almost 12 of such cases has been concluded. Not a single one is reported. The only time it may be reported, it is during the conviction. This grandstanding, if EFCC is investigating anybody, they should go ahead. The essence of investigation is to do it surreptitiously. But this grandstanding, this murder.
Dr. Ajulo, are you there?
It can never work. I think grandstanding should be left aside. What Nigeria wanted to see, what Kayode Ajulo wanted to see, is to see the EFCC where they will say, oh, so person has been convicted, that has been convicted. That should have been the trophy. The trophy should not be that, oh, I've arrested so person, I've arrested this minister, I've arrested this. It's not even in international standard of crime busting. This is not always the way it is. Until I know I don't want to mention him. Until they face the court, until they are convicted, that's when you even learn that they have been probed and they are being investigated. I think telling us every day, oh, so number of people, so number of ex-governors, ex-ministers.
Dr. Ajulo, are you there? All right. If you can, right. Dr. Ajulo, are you there?
Yes, I'm with you.
All right, so finally, before I let you go tonight, earlier you talked about a merger with the ICPC, and there are those who have said one of these two institutions have to go because they practically do same thing. What do you say to that?
Well, by the time you interrogate the acts of the EFCC and ICPC, you find out that they are doing something differently. One is basically about corruption. And when it comes to corruption, where corruption can frustrate, basically when you have an office where you can undermine your office to perpetrate crime, which is different from what is basically financial crime. EFCC hold to, but unfortunately, Nigerian system and the way and our mentality, where each body like encroaching, the issue of jurisdiction always coming. It is a very separate entity. And since we are having this kind of thing, what I may say is to have a central body that we coordinate it the way we're having the National Security Advisor coordinating all the security agency and institution in Nigeria, to have a coordinating agency that will be coordinating all the financial crime, both because financial crime and corruption always come together. Crime of finances, fund, always seem to be what propel most of this official corruption. And if we can have that, then you know that then things will work the way it should be.
Interesting conversation there. Let me say a very thank you to you, Dr. Kayode Ajulo, a lawyer, civil rights activist, public affairs analyst, as we focus on the corruption in EFCC and its implications. Thank you so much for joining us on Politics Tonight. I look forward to more conversations with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. You're welcome.
And thank you very much for watching. That marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night.